America was founded as a nation of immigrants. From the original colonists to Ellis Island to modern immigration, it has always played a core role in founding America's identity. As centuries have gone by, the distinct cultures across the US have slowly blended into a more general American culture, like a melting pot. The US is arguably the most welcoming country to immigrants in the whole world, and one of the only places where, regardless of your culture, looks, or where you are from, you can call yourself an American. My name is Clarkson, and I am proud to be an American. Almost everybody watching this will be an American, and with our current political situation and discourse over immigration, we tend to forget just how good we have it. I hope to remind people that despite whatever happens in this country, or whatever your beliefs are, the United States is still and will always be a beacon of multiculturalism and freedom. Packing everything you own onto a cargo ship across an ocean is always going to be difficult, and growing up in a new foreign country, which for me was the US, can present unique challenges to a person's identity. For years, I struggled with who I was, but I've been able to assimilate and truly call myself an American, while still retaining my culture, which I believe is something unique to the US due to its melting pot idea. I am European. My mother comes from a small town in southern Sweden, while my father and I come from England. When I was young, my family moved to the US for better job and economic opportunities. Originally, the move was supposed to just be temporary, but we loved the state so much we stayed and eventually received citizenship. Throughout this speech, I plan on discussing issues with identity and assimilation, and why the US is so special as a melting pot. I immigrated to the US when I was very young. I don't even remember it. The company my parents worked for sponsored the move, which was initially supposed to only be temporary, and eventually we would return back to England. But the weather, schooling, job prospects, and basically everything were significantly better in the US, so we decided to stay. At first, I didn't necessarily consider myself American. I had a very noticeable accent, and sometimes I struggled to fit in at school. In first grade, I had to move again, but we stayed within North Carolina. I went to a new school where I quickly made friends. Eventually, from being with my friends and watching media, most of whom were from the US, I began to feel more American. Of course, my story isn't unique, so I'd like to focus more on what makes America special and allows stories like mine to happen. The US is one of the most accepting countries to immigrants in the world, and one of the best places to immigrate to. One of the major reasons for this is because being American is not something you were born into. Despite my accents and differences, nobody would bat an eye if I said I was an American. Compare this to most other countries, where even if you lived there your whole life, people may never consider you to be truly one of them. To quote Ronald Reagan, you can go to live in France, but you can't become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany, but you can't become a German. But anyone from any corner of the world can come to live in the United States and become an American. America is also one of the best countries in the world to immigrate to for other reasons. The US has by far the strongest economy in the world. People migrate here for job opportunities. They know that they can receive higher salaries, better jobs, better education. The US generally has a high quality standard of living, consistently ranking high in political freedom, education, infrastructure, health, and basically any other metric you can think of. There's a reason people love to come to America. The US is the largest destination for immigrants globally, and thanks to its unique idea of a melting pot, immigrants are able to adapt to American culture while holding on to their heritage. As I grew up in the US, I began to change my identity and sense of self, and I began to assimilate. My accent shifted to a point where if I tried, most people probably couldn't tell I was foreign born. I remember watching the Super Bowl for the first time in 2016 when the Panthers lost to the Broncos. I started playing sports like flag football and baseball, which to me are quintessentially American. I remember watching the fireworks on 4th of July for the first time. All of this helped me become more American. But despite this, I was still able to hold on to my European culture. I was still able to celebrate English and Swedish traditions and holidays, but I can still feel patriotism and love for my original homes, while also considering myself an American, just like you, something few other countries can say. I hope my description of my experiences has helped you re-examine how we viewed immigration and our country as a whole. Although immigration is always a difficult process, the US is incredibly accepting of migrants, and it is possible to assimilate into American culture while maintaining your heritage. If you are an immigrant, or if your close family are immigrants, I hope you agree with me. Even if your family has lived in the US for generations, I hope this evokes a feeling of gratefulness, because although the US is not perfect, we should all be proud of it.